see somebody's watching, so thank you for that. Please bear with me while I try to figure this out. So my plan is I'm going to show you guys my animation collection. I got DVDs and Blu-rays here. And trying to figure this thing out. I can see that there are 2 people watching, so thank you. But I can't see any comments. So on the top shelf, I have my Hanna-Barbera stuff. A lot of the cartoons I grew up watching from the 60s and 70s. And I got some Superfriends stuff. I'll go through it title by title. I'll wait till a couple more people show up. I have some of my box sets, Family Guy, Futurama. I have the big boy here, the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Hey, I see Eastwood for Life fan joined us. So Carlos, what's up, man? How you doing, sir? This is my first live video. Thanks for joining me, man. It says I have a very bad connection, so I don't know if I'm going to get dropped. How you doing tonight, Carlos? I do Magilla Gorilla. No, let me see. I don't think I did pick up Magilla Gorilla. Yeah, I don't think I do have Magilla Gorilla. Somebody just asked me about Magilla Gorilla, but I do have. These are my favorite editions up here, the Hanna-Barbera stuff. Let me see here. It's telling me I have a very bad connection. I'm not even sure if you guys are hearing this right now. I usually have a pretty good Wi-Fi signal. Can you guys still hear me? This is my first live stream, and I see a lot of guys do it, and it always looks pretty fun. Plus, it's a good way to give shout-outs. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Aaron Brown, for joining. And thank you, Carlos. I guess you guys are the only 2 watching, so yeah, there's 3 people now. I guess I'll just start. I'll start with the Hanna-Barbera stuff. And I don't know how long I'll go with this stream. I just wanted to give it a try. So the first one we have here is the New Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. And this is kind of a live action mixed with animation. This was the complete series. And this one came out in the late 60s. And it was a nice little mix of live action and animation. I thought it was pretty well done for back in the 60s. And the next one is the Roman Holidays. And we have these Space Stars featuring Space Ghost, the Herculoids, Astro and the Space Mutts, and Teen Force. And you guys may remember these from the 70s. The next one is Wheelie and the Chopper Bunch. I think for this live stream I'm just going to go through the Hanna-Barbera stuff. And I'll save the rest for a different day. Wheelie and the Chopper Bunch was kind of a Scooby-Doo ripoff, I think. And they showed a lot of these on the on Boomerang. When Boomerang channel came out about, I don't know, 15 years ago or so, they showed a lot of these as kind of like reruns. And this is the Addams Family, the complete series, 4-disc set. Here was another kind of a Scooby-Doo type ripoff. Kids with the dog trying to go around and solve mysteries and stuff. And this one actually had voiced by Mickey Dolenz from the Monkees. And the next one is Where's Huddles, the complete series. Hey Carlos, I think you're the last one watching. Sea Lab 2020. Pretty good underwater mystery show. This one had really good animation. I picked this one up at a garage sale for like a couple bucks. This is the Perils of Penelope Pitstop. And my favorite part of this cartoon was the little anthill mob, the little gangsters. This is the out-of-print edition of this box set. It comes with the little slipcover. It has since been re-released as a burn-on-demand. This was one of my favorites from the 80s, Thundar the Barbarian, 4-disc set. I do have Hong Kong Phooey, Aaron. It was gifted to me by a fellow YouTuber in a trade package. This one's out of print now. I've seen this one go for like 60, 70 bucks. But like I said, it was part of a trade package, and I think I ended up trading it for about 20 bucks. The guy who traded with me knew what it was worth, but he only paid 20 for it, so he gave me a good deal on that one. This one here is also out of print, and this one's going for some big bucks. Birdman and the Galaxy Trio, the complete series. This comes on like a little thin, kind of a digipack. And I think they have since re-released this one as like a greatest hits, but this is the original, this one's out of print. But I think you can pick this one up for a pretty reasonable price now. The next one is the Space Cadets and Young Samson. They used to play this kind of as filler between cartoons because these shows were only about like 5-6 minutes a piece, and they would kind of show them in between longer running cartoons back in the late 60s. Here's another good one. This one is Shazam. Yeah, Hong Kong Phooey, Carlos. That was a good grab. Tanner ended up trading that one to me, Tanner Ross. Here's another kind of a Scooby-Doo ripoff, The Funky Phantom. And this one it's much more silly than Scooby. It was kind of more aimed toward the comedy aspect rather than the mystery and the horror kind of elements. But here's the Hong Kong Phooey. This is a really nice piece of my collection. This comes in that digipack. And another one from my youth, Peter Potamus. This is more of like a young kids show, but it does have sentimental memories for me growing up watching these on Saturday mornings. And here's another one, the Quickie Koala Show. Moby Dick and Mighty Mightor. These were also kind of short animated cartoons that were kind of fillers. And this was another good one here, the Herculoids. Carlos, did you guys have these in the UK when you were growing up? Any of these titles? Or maybe most of these titles? I know we talked about Hong Kong Phooey before. You remember watching that one. This one was voiced by Scatman Crothers. He had that very, very distinct voice. I do remember. Scrappy, yeah, Scrappy-Doo is very annoying. Here's another kind of a Scooby-Doo ripoff again, Goober and the Ghost Chasers. And Scooby-Doo was a huge hit back in the late 60s, so I think they tried to cash in with some of these other titles. Here's the amazing Chan and the Chan Clan. And I do remember this show, but I don't really remember a whole lot about it. I don't really remember seeing the episodes, but I was aware of this one. I wanted to pick it up. I grabbed a lot of these on Amazon when they were on sale. I think the average price for these probably like 10 to 15 bucks for the whole series. So that's pretty reasonable for me. Here you go, Carlos. Chuck Norris, Karate Commandos. I know you like that one. Too bad they didn't have a Clint Eastwood cartoon. This one came out, I think, in the 80s. Let me see. Yeah, it's not saying on the back, but this was a very short-lived series. It was 110 minutes for the whole series. So old Chuck, he didn't last too long in the animation world. The next one is the Jonny Quest. This was kind of like the remake of Jonny Quest from the 80s, because the original Jonny Quest series was from the 70s. And this is when they kind of tried to bring it back. And these were always fun little shows. And this one is not a Hanna-Barbera, but it is, I do keep it with the Hanna-Barbera cartoons. This is Drac Pack, the complete series. Kind of a little horror-themed animation show from the late 70s. And then here is the original Jonny Quest. This is the complete first season from the 70s. So this is the original box set. This is how they used to look when they first came out. And when they went out of print, then they started kind of putting them in these emery cases. Here's another one. It's kind of a Thundar ripoff, He-Man ripoff, whatever you want to call it. This is Galtar and the Golden Lance. This one wasn't quite as good as Thundar, and it certainly wasn't as good as He-Man. He-Man was the best one, I thought, as far as like sword and sandal. So yeah, Captain Caveman, yeah, Carlo. I don't have Captain Caveman, but that was very popular here too. Frankenstein Jr. and the Impossibles. Oops, I almost dropped it. This is the 2-disc set, complete series. Here's another. This one was really good, I thought. Valley of the Dinosaurs. They always had really good writing for this cartoon. Each little segment was like a little story all on its own. It was really well done. And I thought the animation was pretty good for its time. This is one of my favorite ones, Valley of the Dinosaurs. And this one I don't really remember a whole lot about. This is Devlin, kind of like a stunt driver, motorcycle stunt man. And here again is another kind of a Scooby-Doo ripoff. This is Clue Club, and you can see it's a car full of kids with a couple dogs. And they go around and solve mysteries, solve crimes. This one is the Hanna-Barbera Specials collection, and these are all the very short cartoons. The Adventures of Robin Hoodnick. What is that second one there? It's covered by a sticker. Oliver and the Artful Dodger. The Last of the Curlews, the Three Musketeers, and Cyrano. And out of these 5, I like the Three Musketeers. Those were the best. Actually, there was 4 Musketeers though in the show. And here is yet another rebirth of Jonny Quest, and I think this one was from the 2000s. That is a more modern. I haven't seen any of those yet. Here's some cheese from the 70s. Help, It's the Hair Bear Bunch, and it was a bunch of bears in the zoo, and they were raising a lot of mischief each episode, trying to escape the zoo and seeing how far they can get it with the zookeepers. And you can see from the hairstyles, that's definitely 70s animation, the complete series. Here's some more stuff that you'll probably like, Carlos. This is 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, the complete series. It's a 2-disc set. And I'm with you, man. Scrappy-Doo was the most annoying to me. I never really cared much for that character, Scrappy-Doo. Here is a box set of the best of the new Scooby-Doo movies. And this one has 15 celebrity-packed episodes from the original 1-hour TV show, and it came in this digipack. These are now, I believe these are now out of print. But I think they're still very affordable. You can find them on eBay or secondary markets. And here is, these are a little bit out of order. Here is the 3rd season, which comes in a very thin digipack. It's 359 minutes for season 3. That's pretty significant. And then here is the 2nd season. It's a little bit out of order here, but... And these are DVDs, and these actually came with Ultraviolet. You're right, Carlos. I was just thinking that too. There's 4 people watching now. I just wanted to try this out and see how it worked out. But you're right, I'd probably get more hits on a weekend. I'll try it again this weekend, maybe. I'm thinking about taking the kids to the pumpkin farm, so maybe I'll go live from the pumpkin farm. We'll see. Aaron, I don't remember Lugo Men's Space Giants. That sounds pretty cool, though. Was that a 70s cartoon? I do have a couple more Scooby-Doo stuff here. I have Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, the complete 1st season on 4 discs. And then this was a more modern, this one came out last year or 2 years ago. This is Scooby-Doo and Kiss Rock and Roll Mystery. I think I gave the digital code to Falagar on that one. I'll have to double check. And I'll just finish up this last little bit and then we'll call it a night. I do have some Superfriends. These were some of my favorite cartoons growing up as a kid on Saturday morning. They used to show these. Is that available on DVD, Aaron? That Lugo and the Space Giants? I'd like to check that out. So this is Superfriends, The Lost Episodes, 24 episodes on 2 discs. These were really good with the Superfriends and the Legion of Doom, and they had the narrator. This was really, really good. This was probably my favorite from the 80s. Here's the Adventures of Batman from DC Comics. What's up? Blu-ray Lantern's in the house. How you doing, sir? Good to hear from you, man. I really enjoyed those pictures you had with your family at the pumpkin farm today, Ryan. Thanks for tuning in, man. Here is Challenge of the Super Friends, Attack of the Legion of Doom. And this is, see, these are out of order too, but this is the Super Friends. I'm glad to hear that, Ryan. That's awesome, man. You guys looked great. You have a really beautiful family. Here is Legacy of Superpowers, 18 episodes. That is season 6, and here's season 2. I don't know why these are out of order. I just kind of threw them in here, I guess, but this is season 1, volume 2. This is only 8 episodes, and it comes in this digipack. Here's season 1, volume 1. Comes in just a regular plastic amaret. Here is the Max Fleischer Superman from the 40s, right during World War II, 1941 and 42. These are 17 theatrical shorts on 2 discs. They would show these between, either before movies or between double features, stuff like that. The next one here is Super Friends. This is, thanks, Aaron. I'm not the collection king. These are just things I like to, I spent a lot of money on this stuff. I probably could have spent it in other areas of my life, but I mean, I love this stuff, man. So thank you. I appreciate the comment and the compliment. Here is Super Friends, the first season. Comes kind of like a cool little digi pack here. It's I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's embossed. And Carlos, do you remember watching these in the 80s? These Super Friends? Here is Super Friends and the Legendary Superpowers show, the complete series. This was kind of a later version of the Super Friends. I believe this one came out in the later 80s, at least mid to late 80s. And then here is the all-new Super Friends Hour, Season 1, Volume 1. And again, I picked these all up on Amazon when they were on sale, so I would say probably about 10 to 15 bucks. Tim Hayes is in the house. Welcome, sir. Tim Hayes is the oracle of knowledge. Carlos, you're right, man. He's a really good commenter. He knows his stuff. So what do you guys think? Should I keep going, or should I wrap it up and continue this at a different time? I got, let's see, 4 people watching. I'll keep going if you guys want me to. I'll continue. Why not? I don't have to upload this either. This is just kind of a trial run, Ryan. I'm just trying to see how this YouTube Live works. I like it. I've been watching a lot of guys. I was hoping to give some shout outs today, but like Carlos said, being like a Thursday night, not too many people want to watch this, but I definitely want to give a shout out to Blu-ray Lantern, Ryan, and Carlos, Eastwood for Life fan. Aaron Brown, thank you for watching, man. It's good to hear from you too. So, all right, guys, I'll keep going. But I got the Family Guy seasons on DVD. The only one I have a Blu-ray of is It's a Trap. But at some point, I would like to upgrade all these to Blu-ray, but for now, the DVDs are perfectly fine for me. This is a great show. It cracks me up every time. It never gets old for me. Volume 1 is seasons 1 and 2. And then I think after that, they canceled the show. Or it could have been after season 3. I can't remember for sure exactly, but shortly after that, they canceled the show, and then it was gone for probably a couple of years. And then college kids, I think they got a petition going to bring the show back because the DVD sales were through the roof at that point. So Fox brought it back, and that the rest is history. They've been going strong since. I only have up to volume 10, but I think by now they probably have maybe season 20. I'm not even sure. Legendary Superpower show was a Super Friends. That's interesting, Tim. I wish I could have saw that whole comment, but it showed up on my screen and disappeared. I'm gonna have to check that out after the live stream. But here's volume 4, and see, these are a little bit out of order too. Here's volume 3. I know you guys with OCD are probably screaming at me right now, but here's volume 5, volume 6. This is the kind of show that is more geared towards adults. I mean, everybody knows what Family Guy is by now, but I don't like my kids watching this show. They don't. I have 2 girls and a boy, and my girls don't like the show anyways. But some of the humor in here is very, very adult themed. Here's volume 7. It's very funny. There's no subject that they're not afraid to touch on. All homosexuality, racism. You name it, they're not afraid to cross any barriers in this show. So if you're the kind of person who is easily offended, I would not recommend watching Family Guy. But if you have a good sense of humor, this show will crack you up. Right, I agree, Ryan. It's definitely not for kids. This one, these next 2 are really good. These are Star Wars ripoffs, Ryan. I know these are right up your alley. You're a big Star Wars fan. This is the something 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 Dark Side DVD edition. You can see that old sticker was from Blockbuster, and how I miss Blockbuster. The next one here is It's a Trap Blu-ray, and these are great. These are great Star Wars satire. And the next one is the Stewie Griffin, The Untold Story, which is, it's okay, but it's still funny. It's still fun to watch. And then here's a more modern, kind of an anime. I think this is more of an American anime, though. This is Avatar, The Last Airbender, and I remember watching this with my oldest when she was still very young. This was a really good show, but it was only 3 seasons. It was the complete Book 1 collection, and I think it was Air, Water, and Earth were the 3 volumes. And my battery's low, so I'm going to just do the rest of the shelf, guys, and I'm going to call it a night. Here is Batfink. This is actually a Shout factory release. This is the 40th anniversary edition with 100 action-packed episodes. This one came out in probably about 10 years ago now, though. It's a pretty decent little cartoon from the late 70s, early 80s. Here is Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic Forever. I think I picked this one up at the dollar store. Here's another one. This is Noah's Ark. This was also a dollar store buy based on the best-selling book of all time, the Bible, right? So this one comes with a nice slipcover for $1. I do enjoy the Bible stories. And here's another Shout box set. This is the Wild Thornberrys, and again, this is another show that I watched with my kids when they were very young. Nickelodeon. And another one here. This was also more of an adult-themed cartoon, though not in a bad way. It just had a lot of political undertones to it, and a lot of kind of adult issues in that cartoon, and I thought that was a really well done cartoon. Here's one of my favorites. This was a gift from Falagar, who is Sammy. Everybody knows and loves Falagar. He gave this to me a couple years ago. One of my favorite box sets. This is the Spider-Man 1967 collection with a written introduction by the Stan Lee, and this is now out of print. And this is one of the gems in my collection. And then we have the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe box sets. Here's Season 1, Volume 1. If I drop off, guys, it's because my battery is very low right now, so I'm just going to keep going. Here is Season 1, Volume 2. Probably, if not the best cartoon of all time, at least in the top 3, in my opinion. The He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Here is Season 2, Volume 1. And here's Season 2, Volume 2. And you can see, in the background, you can see that the box sets make up Castle Grayskull in Eternia. So here is He-Man and She-Ra, a Christmas special. This was given to me some years ago, and I still have not opened it, and I still have never seen that episode before, or that show. And then here was the reboot, or the remake, from the early 2000s. And this is it's a more modern edition of He-Man, but the animation is really, really good. This is Volume 1 of 3, and this is 3 DVDs and 13 episodes. But this is the only one I have. This is Volume 1. So I think with that, guys, I am going to wrap it up, and thank you guys for joining me, all 3 of you who are left. I appreciate it, and I had fun trying out this live stream. I think I'll probably do it on a weekend next time to get a little more traffic. But thanks for hanging out with me, guys, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.